night, while they were taking rest, they were suddenly a great forest fire. Suddenly there was a great forest fire, and it quickly appeared that the fire would soon devour all the inhabitants of Vrindavan. I'm going to stop here now. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Gokulanand Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Bhagwan Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki jai. Shri Gaura Nitai ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Parcharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Bhaktavrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone louder. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Your turn. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopal Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda 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 Govinda, Govinda 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 Govinda, Gopal Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda Shri Radhe. Jayo Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jayo Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Gokulanand ki jai. Shri Shri Bhagwan Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Samved Gaur Bhakt Vrind ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupat Paramhans Parigacharya Astatar His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा, श्री अवधैत गदाधर शिवशादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्णा गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय. श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय. श्री मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय. श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. श्री श्री गंगा माई यमुना माई तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय. सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I request everyone to be seated, please.
He'll play with you.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlad Lad Daine. Narsingamadim Sharanam Prapade. Tava Kara Kamala Vare Natha Nrsinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagdish Hare Jayo Jagdish Hare Jai Jagdish Hare Tav Kar Kamal Vare Nakha Adbhut Nrsinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagdish Hare Jayo Jagdish Hare Jai Jagdish Hare Jayo Nrsimhadev Jayo Nrsimhadev Jayo Nrsimhadev Jayo Nrsimhadev Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jayo Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nrsingadev Bhagwan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna everyone. Now there will be Mahaprasada serving at the Haveli. So please take before you leave. Take the Mahaprasad blessings of Krishna and thank you for coming to Bhaktivedanta Manor. Hari Bol.
Haribol.
Hari Bol. Shall we do Krishna? Hey, come here. Let's do. You know, do Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Mana जो बोलावे वो हरि बोल हरि दी वो दादा हरि बोल
Hare Krishna.
मोटे लाउड
Yeah. How about you? Will you?
I went 3 times over. What's the name?
Hare Krishna.
हरि कृष्ण बोली
Is it Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna.
It's live.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
અહીંયાથી જવાનું મોડ આઉટ કર્યું
Sorry for the wait. This is lovely. See you later. Tomorrow. In the afternoon. Yeah, sure. Morning, just no worries. भगवान के साथ Yeah, the orchestra is 10 sweets. Yeah? It's 10 sweets. Yeah. Give me 1 minute. No. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Haribol. Hare Krishna. To those of you that are still in the temple room and haven't gone to eat, pardon? We're doing a little bit of praying, singing, but mostly we're going to be hearing all about Krishna. Yeah, because this is our most important activity. To hear and to give others a chance to hear about the Lord. And that is the first and most important service. And without this service, all other services are incomplete. Yes, Prabhupada specifically says that without hearing sufficiently and properly, then one cannot make progress by other types of service. So, if you have time, you're welcome to sit down and listen. It's not just a lecture, it's not even a lecture. It's a hearing and a discussion. If people have questions, we do this almost every day. If anybody has questions or reflections, they're very, very welcome to discuss. Yeah, cool. I mean, I'm not holding you here. I don't have a lasso. And there's people listening online, so you're free, but if you want to give 5 minutes, great. Nama Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prishta Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharnini Vishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatare Shatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're up to chapter 24, worshipping Govardhan Hill. Do you know this pastime? You've seen Krishna sometimes with his lifting the hill. Yeah, so this is the entire pastime of worshipping Govardhan Hill. And I think we finished last time just at the point where Krishna was going to convince his father and all of the senior members of the community to stop their plans, because they had big plans. Their plans were to perform a great sacrifice to honor Indra, the king of heaven, because Indra is controlling the rain, and as a consequence of the rainfall, then the earth produces abundance, right? Especially in the form of food grains, by which all living entities are able to subsist, especially human beings. Without food, no life, so we depend on the rain. So Krishna's father and their community, it was a traditional ceremony to honor Indradev, yes, for his contribution, very important contribution. But Krishna, he wanted to correct Indra. Indra is his servant. Indra is a demigod, one among the many, many demigods serving the Lord. The demigods are like administrative officers in the universal affairs. Yeah, so they're in charge of all of the things that we require to function, to exist here in this world. So sometimes they become a little bit carried away by their power and their position. So Krishna, he wanted to humble Indradev, because Indradev had become a little too proud, a little too puffed up. So the Lord asked his father, is this, what's this ceremony all about? Is it a traditional thing? Is it a Vedic injunction? Like, where does it come from? So his father kind of explained eventually that we do this because, Indra is supplying us rain. Yeah, so it's a traditional ceremony, essentially, to honor King Indra. Okay. So, Nanda Maharaj, after being asked, Nanda Maharaj means Krishna's father. So after being asked by Krishna what this was all about, right, because they had made so many preparations, big festival, ceremony, offerings, sacrifice, yes? So many things were organized and brought together to offer to King Indra. Krishna asked what it's all for. His father gave him, a straightforward answer. And then, this is his answer. Nanda Maharaj replied, "My dear boy, this ceremonial performance is more or less traditional. Because rainfall is due to the mercy of King Indra, and the clouds are his representatives. And because water is so important for our living, we must show some gratitude to the controller of this rainfall, Maharaj Indra." So it's about gratitude. "We are arranging, therefore, to pacify King Indra, because he has very kindly sent us clouds to pour down a sufficient quantity of rain for successful agricultural activities. Water is very important. Without rainfall, we cannot farm or produce grain, and without grain, we cannot live. Therefore, rain is necessary for successful religious ceremonies, for economic development, and ultimately, liberation. The whole program in this material world is that we live by God's grace, we subsist by the grace of God, for a particular goal. And what is that goal? The goal is to realize that I don't actually belong here. I belong with God in His kingdom, in the spiritual world. So every religious direction and advice and engagement is meant to bring us to the point of realizing that I have no business in this material world. There's nothing for me here. It's a lost cause, right? That is the point that we have to come to. So we need certain things in order to experience enjoyment, right? So that we can come to the point of realizing that this enjoyment doesn't work. But before coming to that realization that this enjoyment doesn't work, let me get out of this place, first I have to have a proper experience of what it really is. I have to have the best possible experience. Yes? And having had that best possible experience, I can then say, I'm satisfied that there is no satisfaction here. I've tried it all, I've done it appropriately and properly, I've gained whatever I could gain, and I'm satisfied that there's nothing here for me. This is really the point we have to come to. So that is not possible if one is only fighting for survival, if one is only starving to death, yeah? But if one has ample opportunity for engagement of the senses according to religious direction, and one gets as much enjoyment as is attainable, then one can think and realize that this is actually not enough for me. This is not what I need. So the Vedic directions are there to help us have a progressive life. If we're constantly in pain or anxiety because we can't get enough of basic things, then it is very, very difficult to walk away. Conversely, one could say that when you're suffering, then that's really when you can take an interest in spiritual life, the Nivritti Marg, not getting involved. But the thing is that if suffering was really all it took for us to wake up and be keen to go to the spiritual world and leave this place behind, if suffering was all it would take, well, we would have been liberated a long time ago. Because right now, today, what is it, the 23rd, 24th? Yeah? The 24th of February 2026, there are millions of human beings right now on this earth suffering. And none of them are thinking, I better give up this material world, it's no good, let me go back to Godhead. Suffering is not sufficient in itself. What is required is the awakening of knowledge. Yeah? And that is only achieved by the mercy of Krishna's devotees. Yeah? They give bhakti, they give knowledge. So there are four primary aims of life, the Vedas say. Dharma, which means performing recommended activities, recommended religious activities, according to one's nature. Because Dharma means that it's appropriate action according to your own nature. Right? And as a result of performing appropriate actions, you're going to be rewarded. Artha. From Dharma you get Artha, which means economic development or prosperity. Yeah? People who perform a lot of pious religious activities, they are amassing credit. And in the future they receive the rewards, the economic benefit. They become rich in their next life. Yeah? Because in this life they performed all kinds of pious religious activities, including charity. Yeah? And then in a future life, they are afforded more facility. So from Dharma, you get Artha. Why do you need Artha? Why do you need material gain? Because you want Kama. You want to enjoy. And, it's no shocker that people who have more artha, more wealth, more facility, are able to enjoy their senses to a greater degree. Right? Otherwise, why is everybody crazy about getting more money, more facility, more resources? Because that means I have more opportunity for enjoyment. So artha is necessary for kama, for full material enjoyment. And then, having experienced a greatest, degree of kama, one ultimately has to come to the point of saying that this is not fully satisfying to me. There's something else that I need. Something is missing. And it's not here, and it's not available through the material senses. And then one becomes interested in the path of nivritti, which means leaving all that behind, leaving sense enjoyment behind, and seeking liberation, entering into spiritual life, which is not just, nullifying one's existence and merging into some kind of nebula. Not merging into the great white light. Rather, spiritual existence means spiritual relationship, spiritual variety. All of the things that we find here, but in its perfect form. Liberation really means to enter into a relationship with God in one of His planets. So that's the program for the conditioned souls in this world. They have to go through this. So, in order to go through that program, we need things. We need rainfall. We need sunlight. We need accommodation. We need fine clothing. We need fine foodstuff, right? We need culture that allows us to taste all of the refined varieties of enjoyment that are available in this world. And that very much depends upon the help from Krishna's agents in the world who arrange everything for us. Okay, so Krishna's father says, because rain is necessary for successful religious ceremonies, dharma, for economic development, artha, and ultimately liberation, moksha. Rain is necessary to execute this program of human life. So, we should not give up the traditional ceremonial function, right, to honor Indradev. If one gives it up, being influenced by lust, greed, or fear, then it does not look very good for him. Okay, so we have to pay our dues to get where we need to go to. Any thoughts? Any questions? Or I'll keep reading. Or you're free to go if you have to go. I'm not keeping you here. Okay, I'll read on. After hearing this, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the presence of his father and all the elder cowherd men of Vrindavan, spoke in such a way as to make the heavenly King Indra very angry. He suggested that they forego the sacrifice. His reasons for discouraging the sacrifice performed to please Indra were twofold. So he had two reasons why he discouraged this sacrifice for Indra. First, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, there is no need to worship the demigods for any material advancement. Many people worship demigods, right? Especially within Hindu communities and families. They have a whole lineup of gods, right? And we're gonna do something for all of them because we want something for all of them according to what we believe they can give us. But Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, says no need to worship the demigods for any material advancement. He says this in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter. All results derived from worshipping the demigods are simply temporary, and only those who are less intelligent are interested in temporary results. Right, so I may worship all these demigods thinking I'm going to get something. The demigods are temporary. The results that they can give, only by the permission of the Supreme, those results are also temporary. Right? You may get them, but ultimately they will be spent, and you'll be back to square one. So what's the use of that? And and every gain and every enjoyment in this world is forgotten in time, like a dream. So what is the use of gaining temporary things which in time are completely forgotten? What is the use of that? I'm sure in my last life, or in a previous life, I had some very cute children, and I spent time with them, and I served them, and I enjoyed their childhood activities. I'm sure it was wonderful. I don't remember a damn thing about it. And now in this life, I also have my kids, and I look at my teenager daughter and think, I'm sure I remember her being, small and cute. And I remember enjoying in different ways how she would, speak and do things, right? And I played with her. Yeah, I remember something, but it's getting a little hazy. I remember less and less what it was like, really. And when I'm in my old age, it will be a distant memory. And in my next life, I probably won't have any recollection of my present daughter when she was 4 years old or something. So we have, and that's just one experience of enjoyment, one experience of happiness. So all these experiences of happiness and enjoyment that we can gain here, they're all temporary. So what is the use of all of these temporary, enjoyable experiences if they don't stay? This is the material world. This is where we are. But the good news is that there is another place, which is not like that. It's sanatana, it's eternal. And the enjoyment there is unending, is blissful. That's available to us. So we shouldn't be depressed that, he's such, he's very pessimistic. He's very pessimistic. Well, regarding material life, it is good to be pessimistic because that is the actual condition. And if we accept the actual condition, we can begin to do something about it. We can begin to solve our real problem. Our real problem is that we want to be happy, but we're trying for it in a place where everything is temporary. So that problem can be solved if we are willing to face the problem and say, okay, this is not very smart. This is not intelligent. Let me do something to solve this problem. Let me go to the spiritual world where every word is a song, every step is a dance, where everything is conscious, eternal, unchanging, and full of bliss. Let me go there. Why am I wasting time trying to prove myself here? Oh my God, what is the use of attempting to prove myself here to a bunch of other people who have whose memories will be gone in a few short years? We had to have a bigger vision, a sight of the bigger picture. And that's why we're learning this information. So, Krishna said that all results derived from the worship of the demigods are simply temporary. And only those who are less intelligent are interested in temporary results. Second, whatever temporary result one derives from worshipping the demigods is actually granted by the permission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna actually is the one who's granting all benefits. We think the demigod is giving this to me. No, the demigod has to go to Krishna and say, they want this, they worship me for it, can I give it to them? And Krishna's like, okay, then they can give. That's how it works. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. It is clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Mayaiva vihitan hitan. Whatever benefit is supposed to be derived from the demigods is actually bestowed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without the permission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot bestow any benefit upon others. But sometimes the demigods become puffed up by the influence of material nature. Thinking themselves all in all, they forget the supremacy of the personality of Godhead. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly stated that in this instance, Krishna wanted to make King Indra angry. Krishna's advent was especially meant for the annihilation of the demons and protection of the devotees. King Indra was certainly a devotee, not a demon, but because he was puffed up, Krishna wanted to teach him a lesson. He first made Indra angry by stopping the Indra Puja, which had been arranged by the cowherd men in Vrindavan. So something is going to go down here. Krishna is making Indradev angry. We can expect fireworks. With this purpose in mind, Krishna began to talk as if he were an atheist. Right? Isn't that funny? Krishna, the Supreme Lord, speaking as if he were an atheist. Supporting the philosophy of karma mimamsa. Advocates of this philosophy, karma mimamsa, do not accept the supreme authority of the personality of Godhead. They put forward the argument that if anyone works nicely, the result is sure to come. I'm sure we can find similar such philosophies in this day and age. People will say, if you work nicely, the result is sure to come. Right? So many formulas, so many YouTube videos, how to be successful like this and like that. If you just follow these steps, right? It is sure to come. You are sure to be successful. Unfortunately, they do not know actually who is in control of success. Their opinion is that even if there is a God who gives man the result of his fruitive activities, there is no need to worship him, because unless man works, he cannot bestow any good result. Which means, so I'll just unpack that sentence a little bit. So they have the opinion that even if there's a God who gives us the result of our fruitive activities, who gives us the result of our work, even if that God exists, who gives the result, you don't have to worship him, they say, because unless man works, then God cannot bestow any good result. So they put all the emphasis on the man working, right? If the man works, then it's all going to happen anyway, right? God is going to give you the result anyway because you worked. You don't have to worship him. That's their idea. It's just an idea. They say that instead of worshiping a demigod or God, people should give attention to their own duties, and thus the good result will surely come. Yeah? Why bother with religion? Just work hard. Just do your own duty. You'll get everything. This is their idea. Lord Krishna began to speak to his father according to these principles of the karma mimamsa philosophy. My dear father, he said, I don't think you need to worship any demigod for the successful performance of your agricultural activities. Every living being is born according to his past karma and leaves this life simply taking the result of his present karma. Everyone is born in different types or species of life according to his past activities. And he gets his next birth according to the activities of this life. So this body is the result of our previous life's work. And if we want to know where we're going next, or what kind of body or experience, pleasure or pain we're going to get next, well, we have to just simply look at what we're doing in this life. And if we don't like it, or rather if we're a bit worried that it's not too promising, then we have to change something. And if we are engaged in spiritual work and we're taking an interest in God and work for Him, then we should be confident that our future is bright. So, whether or not our future is bright will very much depend on what I'm doing in this life. Different grades of material happiness and distress, comforts and disadvantages of life, are different results of different kinds of activities from either the past or present life. All right, so this is Krishna giving us this information. We can see that, in so many different walks of life, different people are getting different experiences. Some are having more happiness than others. Some are having more distress than others. Some having more comforts and advantages. Others are in more difficulty. These are all the results of different kind of activities, past and present. Maharaj Nanda and other elder members argued that without satisfying the predominating God, one cannot derive any good result simply by material activities. So Krishna's father and the other elder members, they counteracted Krishna's argument. They said that you can't get any good result just by material activities. You have to satisfy the predominating deity. So we have a little bit of a philosophical battle going on here, right? Srila Prabhupada writes, this is actually the fact. Okay, so Krishna has presented one argument, which is atheistic, which is ironic, given that he is God. His father and the elder members, they presented their counter-argument, which said that actually you must satisfy the predominating controller, the predominating deity, if you want a result. It's not enough just to work nicely or work hard. That will not actually guarantee the result. You must satisfy the deity. And Srila Prabhupada, who's writing this book and commenting on this information, he says, this is actually the fact. For example, it is sometimes found that in spite of first-class medical help and treatment by a first-class physician, a diseased person dies. It is concluded, therefore, that first-class medical treatment or the attempts of a first-class physician are not in themselves the cause for curing a patient. There must be the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right, two people may go for the same operation, the same treatment, to the same doctor or physician. One may live, the other may die. Right? It is not under the control of either the physician, or the administration of the medicine, or the relative condition of the patient. Rather, it is under the control of the Supreme Daiva. Similarly, a fathers and mothers taking care of their children is not the cause of the children's comfort. This is a very important statement. We think that my child's comfort is all down to me. But actually, the care of the parents is not the cause of the children's comfort. Sometimes it is found that in spite of all care by the parents, the children go bad or succumb to death. Therefore, material causes are not sufficient for results. Material causes are not sufficient. There's another ingredient that is necessary. Srila Prabhupada, one time at the Kumbh Mela in, I'm not sure when it was, either mid or late 1970s, he was speaking to some guests, and the guest was questioning Srila Prabhupada about Dharma, about what he should do, what his responsibility was in his household life. And this guest was saying that, I feel that sometimes I'm thinking about renouncing and taking completely to the spiritual path, but then I think, I'm a family man, I have dependents, I have children, I must take care of them. I'm responsible for them. Their education, their upbringing is dependent on me. I must look after their education. So Srila Prabhupada fired back at him that you are not the cause of their good education or their comfort or their health. And then he pointed to a family who was that was living nearby under some destitute condition. They didn't have a proper home. In the street, living in the street. And all day the children, one of the children that was with him was crying. And Srila Prabhupada says, just see, this child is with its parents all day. But in spite of the presence of the parents, the child is constantly crying. So it is not simply enough that the parents are there next to the child trying their best. That is not enough. In spite of the parents' presence and their attempt to provide for the children, if the children are destined to cry, they will cry. Prabhupada says here, the children may go bad or succumb to death in spite of all the parents' best efforts. So there's another ingredient, there's another cause. Material causes are not enough. There must be the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nanda Maharaj therefore advocated that in order to get good results for agricultural activities, they must satisfy Indra, the superintending deity of the rain supply. So this is Nanda Maharaj's position. If we want a good result, it's not enough that we do our activities nicely, then we must get the blessings and the grace of King Indra. Lord Krishna nullified this argument. Right, so Krishna again counters. Lord Krishna nullified this argument, saying that the demigods give results only to persons who have executed their prescribed duties. The demigods cannot give any good results to the person who has not executed the prescribed duties. Therefore, demigods are dependent on the execution of duties and are not absolute in awarding good results to anyone. So why should one care about them? So this is Krishna's counter-argument, right? That the demigods can only give the result if we execute the duties properly. They can't give any good results to someone who's not executed his prescribed duties. And they're dependent on us performing our prescribed duties properly. So they're not absolute in awarding good results to anyone. So why should we care about them? We just do our prescribed duties, and then the demigods are, obliged to give us the results. That's right. That was Krishna's perspective. But he's taking this position just for the purpose of making Indra angry. My dear father, Lord Krishna said, there is no need to worship the demigod Indra. Everyone has to achieve the result of his own work. We can actually see that one becomes busy according to the natural tendency of his work. And according to that natural tendency, all living entities, whether human beings or demigods, achieve their respective results. Right? Everyone has a tendency, a natural inclination to work in a certain way. Attracted. And then you do that kind of work, and naturally you get your deserved results. All living entities achieve higher or lower bodies and create enemies, friends, or neutral parties only because of their different kinds of work. One should be careful to discharge duties according to his natural instinct. and not divert attention to the worship of various demigods. Interesting expression Srila Prabhupada uses here. This is important for all the students of Varnashram. One should be careful to discharge duties according to his natural instinct. It's not about your present expertise. It's not about what others say you're good at. It's about your natural instinct. And you may need some help to clarify that. Therefore, there is such a thing as career dharma coaching. So one should be careful to discharge duties according to his natural instinct and not divert attention to the worship of various demigods. The demigods will be satisfied by proper execution of all duties. So there is no need to worship them. This is Krishna's argument, that you don't have to separately worship them because they'll be satisfied anyway if you perform your duties properly. No need to separately petition them. Krishna continues, let us rather perform our prescribed duties very nicely. Actually, one cannot be happy without executing his proper prescribed duty. One who does not, therefore, properly discharge his prescribed duties is compared to an unchaste wife. The proper prescribed duty of the Brahmanas is the study of the Vedas. All right, so now we're getting down to some detail. Okay, we're thinking, okay, well, what are my prescribed duties? Well, human society is divided naturally into 4 categories. The Brahmana category, Kshatriya category, Vaishya category, Shudra category. These are not meant for the artificial domination of one group over another. They're simply categories based upon one's natural instinct to work. The Brahmana's natural instinct is to ascertain what is true and to give that to others for their benefit. That is the Brahmana's natural instinct. The natural instinct of the Kshatriya is to establish justice, to offer protection for the benefit of others. The natural instinct of the Vaishya is to generate wealth for the benefit of others, right? And if it's not sustainable and it's not regenerative wealth, they're not interested. They must create abundance, they must create profit for the distribution to society. Natural instinct, create wealth. And then the Shudra's natural instinct is to supply functionality to society. Functionality and beauty. And stimulus for the senses and mind. Natural instincts. So Krishna says the proper prescribed duty of the Brahmanas is the study of the Vedas. Right? Interested in the truth. The proper duty, it's not that the other categories are not interested in truth, it's just that that's not what's driving their occupation. But specifically for the Brahmanas, what's driving their occupation is knowledge, truth. Is it true? Is it wise? The proper duty of the royal order, the Kshatriyas, is engagement in protecting the citizens. The proper duty of the Vaishya community is agriculture, trade, and protection of the cows. And the proper duty of the Shudras is service to the higher classes, namely the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. So this is very straightforward. These are the natural duties of everyone. And then if we are aware of our natural instinct, we can understand that my duty is either to study the Vedas and to distribute that knowledge to others, or it's to offer protection to the citizens, or it's agriculture, trade, and protection of cows, or it is service to the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, or the Vaishyas. Again, that service is offering functionality and beauty, aesthetic value. Krishna says, we belong to the Vaishya community, and our proper duty is to farm, trade agricultural produce, and protect cows, or to take to banking. So it's very clear. If one has a thirst for wealth, then one should stick to these duties. Farm, trade agricultural produce, protect cows, or you could take to banking. These are proper activities for Vaishyas, for the productive class. This is real work for a productive class. Not that you're manufacturing, rubber tires. Agriculture, cow protection, these are the fundamental activities required by human society in order for society to be opulent and prosperous. We don't need more rubber tires. We need more milk, more butter, more ghee, more jewels, more precious metals, more wheat, more sugar, more vegetables, more fruits. We need abundance in all of these things. Cotton, silk. Right? These are the real. This is the real wealth of human society, not rubber tires and hammers. Laptops. How does it improve the happiness of anybody to have, an extra screen? It may make your work a little convenient. Okay, we don't reject these things. They can be engaged in our duties, but it's not the real wealth of human society. An updated smartphone. It's not real wealth. So a real Vaishya is not busy thinking how to create an improved smartphone. This is not required. It's surplus to requirements. A real businessman should engage in agriculture, protection of cows, trade, or banking. And that banking should be for the benefit of society, not to exploit the poor citizens. With all kind of speculative promises, or promises of speculative financial returns. Krishna identified himself with the Vaishya community because Nanda Maharaj was protecting many cows. And Krishna was taking care of them. He enumerated 4 kinds of business engagement for the Vaishya community, namely agriculture, trade, protection of cows, and banking. Although the Vaishyas can take to any of these occupations, the men of Vrindavana were engaged primarily in the protection of cows. Krishna further explained to his father, this cosmic manifestation is going on under the influence of the 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. These 3 modes are the causes of creation, maintenance, and destruction. The cloud is caused by the action of the mode of passion. Therefore, it is the mode of passion which causes the rainfall. And after the rainfall, the living entities derive the result, which is success in agricultural work. What then has Indra to do with this affair? Even if you do not please Indra, what can he do? We do not derive any special benefit from Indra. Even if he is there, he pours water on the ocean also, where there is no need of water. So he is pouring water on the ocean or on the land. It does not depend on our worshipping him. Right? Krishna is basically taking Indra out of the equation. It's just removing him completely from the equation. We just don't need him. We'll perform our activities. Yeah, he's obliged to reciprocate with the proper performance of our activities. He'll make it rain, right? And anyway, this whole universe is conducted by 3 modes: sattva, rajas, tamas, goodness, passion, ignorance. The accumulation of Rain in the clouds is a result of the mode of passion working, right? So what's Indra got to do with anything? We don't need to give him some special honor in order to get rain. So let's just not bother. As far as we are concerned, we do not need to go to another village. We do not need to go to another city or village or foreign country. There are palatial buildings in the cities, but we are satisfied living in this forest of Vrindavana. Our specific relationship is with Govardhan Hill and Vrindavan forest and nothing more. I therefore request you, my dear father, to begin a sacrifice which will satisfy the local brahmanas and Govardhana Hill. And let us have nothing to do with Indra. After hearing this statement by Krishna, Nanda Maharaj replied, My dear boy, since you are asking, I shall arrange for a separate sacrifice for the local brahmanas and Govardhan Hill. But for the present, let me execute this sacrifice known as Indra Yajna. So Nanda Maharaj tried to compromise a little bit. He tried to pacify Krishna. He said, okay, we'll do something for the local brahmanas and for Govardhan Hill. Certainly. But, just let us worship Indra as well. Yeah? Let us complete this traditional ceremony. But Krishna replied, My dear father, don't delay. The sacrifice you propose for Govardhan and the local brahmanas will take much time. Better take the arrangement and paraphernalia you have already made for the Indra Yajna and immediately engage them to satisfy Govardhan Hill and the local brahmanas. So just take everything that you've prepared already for Indra and immediately offer it to the brahmanas and to Govardhan. That would be better. So Krishna is saying, no compromise. Just forget about Indra. We don't have much time. Yes? Better to take everything already prepared and give it straight to the brahmanas and to Giriraj, Govardhan Hill. Maharaj Nanda finally relented. The cowherd man then inquired, they finally relented. Krishna convinced them, He just was not giving up. He was not compromising. He would not be swayed. Whatever Nanda Maharaj presented to him, Krishna counteracted it, said, no, let's just do it like this. Forget Indra. No need to worship Indra at all. So Maharaj Nanda finally relented. The cowherd man then inquired from Krishna how he wanted the yajna performed, and Krishna gave them the following directions. Krishna said, Prepare very nice foods of all descriptions from the grain and ghee collected for the yajna. Prepare rice, dal, then halava, pakora, puri, and all kinds of milk preparations, such as sweet rice, rabri, sweet balls, sandesha, rasagulla, and laddu, and invite the learned brahmanas who can chant the Vedic hymns and offer oblations to the fire. The brahmanas should be given all kinds of grain in charity. Then decorate all the cows and feed them well. After performing this, give money in charity to the brahmanas. As far as the lower animals are concerned, such as the dogs, and the lower grades of people, such as the chandalas, or the fifth class of men, who are considered untouchable, they also may be given sumptuous prasadam. After nice grasses have been given to the cows, the sacrifice known as Govardhan Puja may immediately begin. This sacrifice will very much satisfy me. Thank you. Right. Does anyone have any reflections or questions at this point? It's okay if you don't. In this statement, Lord Krishna practically described the whole economy of the Vaishya community. In all communities in human society, including the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, Chandalas, etc., and in the animal kingdom, including the cows, dogs, goats, etc., everyone has his part to play. Right? It's a very important statement, huh? Everyone has his part to play. Every part is important, valuable. Each is to work in cooperation for the total benefit of all society. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Each is to work in cooperation for the total benefit of all society, which includes not only animate objects, but also inanimate objects like hills and land. All right, so the hills, the land, they're also to be considered, in the performance of our work, how they will be affected. This is environmental awareness, right? The Vaishya community is specifically responsible for the economic improvement of the society by producing grain, by giving protection to the cows, by transporting food when needed, and by banking and finance. So this is very important. Srila Prabhupada doesn't write that the Vaishya community is specifically responsible for, turning a profit, and having a successful business. The Vaishya community is specifically responsible for the economic improvement of the society. The whole society should feel and experience that we have economic improvement. And how is that possible? It is possible by producing grain, by giving protection to the cows, by transporting food when needed, and by banking and finance. From this statement we can learn also that although the cats and dogs, which have now become so important, are not to be neglected, cow protection is actually more important than protection of cats and dogs. How many people would be utterly horrified if their cat, or if a bunch of cats and dogs were sent to a slaughterhouse? There would be uproar. It would be mayhem, pandemonium. If a slaughterhouse was opened, for cats and dogs, who would put up with that? But somehow or other, in this society, we have slaughterhouses meant for cows, the most valuable animal, producing the most important foodstuff, milk, miracle food. What kind of crazy society is this? And because of ignorance, most people go along with it. They don't know anything else. They're born into it. They think it's fine. Of course now, in the last, 20, 30 years, we're improving in some kind of consciousness, some kind of animal welfare consciousness, which extends beyond cats and dogs. Great. But let's go the full distance. Let's understand what is the relationship between human beings and cows. Let us understand how God has created this arrangement whereby human beings can derive the most nutritious food in the form of milk, and how they can develop keen intelligence by consuming milk products, and with that intelligence, how they can become spiritually enlightened. This Brahminical culture is necessary in human society. Cow protection is actually more important than protection of cats and dogs. Another hint we get from this statement is that chandalas, or the untouchables, are also not to be neglected by the higher classes and should be given necessary protection. Chandalas means they do not come within the other four categories. They're not studying and teaching the Vedas, not engaging in sacrifice according to Vedic injunction. Right? They're not protecting the citizens. They're not generating economy. They're not offering service to Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, or Vaishyas, through functionality or beauty. They're not contributing within those four categories. They're outside of the pale. They're not making a structured contribution. Right? So in various places and times and communities, you'll get those type of persons, chandalas, which we translate as dog eater. So what kind of person wants to eat a dog? But in the Vedic society, these chandalas are also not to be neglected by the higher classes, and they should be given necessary protection. Everyone is important, but some are directly responsible for the advancement of human society, and some are only indirectly responsible. However, when Krishna consciousness is there, then everyone's total benefit is taken care of. So generally the Brahmanas are responsible for the advancement of human society. They lead the way because they're the head of society. So the head leads the way. They're the ideas. They're the brains. You have to have a brain behind everything. And then the Kshatriyas are the arms. They protect. If there's no protection, there's no order. If there's no order, there's no harmony. If there's no harmony, there cannot be societal benefit and progress. So, the Brahmanas are very important. The Kshatriyas work under the direction of the Brahmanas. So some are directly responsible for advancement of human society, others indirectly responsible. Right? Human society needs the production of food and materials. Human society needs service in the form of functionality, beauty. All these things are required in human society. When Krishna consciousness is there, however, then everyone's total benefit is taken care of. So simply by the activities of Krishna consciousness, then the benefit of Krishna consciousness is distributed everywhere. So if we all decided to just chant Hare Krishna all day, there would be no loss, there would be nothing lacking, nothing missing, no scarcity, because everyone's total benefit is taken care of. Because God is actually the maintainer of everybody. So if everyone were to be engaged exclusively in His service, by hearing about His glories, by chanting the Maha Mantra, yes, by worshipping the deity, exclusively engaged in activities of Krishna consciousness as delineated in the scriptures, there would be no loss, there would be no scarcity, there would be nothing missing. There would be no, what are we going to do to get this or that? No. Because Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidhati Kaman. There is one supreme being who is maintaining all others. One supreme conscious eternal maintaining all other conscious eternals. So if Krishna is pleased, which He is, by the performance of Krishna conscious activities, and therefore we could all simply chant Hare Krishna all day long, and there would be no loss, there would be no scarcity. Everything would be taken care of. Krishna would arrange it. It would be miraculous. But most people won't take it up. The sacrifice known as Govardhan Puja is observed in the Krishna consciousness movement. Lord Chaitanya, just on that point, most people won't take it up, but that's all right. If even a small percentage of the human society take it up, then it will be wonderful. It'll change the whole face of the earth. If even 5% of human society took up the process of Krishna consciousness, chanting the Lord's holy names, glorifying the Lord, hearing about His activities, preaching this movement, holding festivals, major Sankirtan festivals, distributing prasadam, worshipping the deity. If a very small percentage of human society took this up seriously, the whole face of the earth would be changed. It would be bliss. Lord Chaitanya has recommended that since Krishna is worshipable, so his land, Vrindavana and Govardhan Hill, is also worshipable. To confirm this statement, Lord Krishna said that Govardhan Puja is as good as worship of him. So Krishna is the most worshipable personality. He is the most deserving of all love. And similarly, his land, which is practically non-different from him, it is also most worshipable. To confirm this statement, Lord Krishna said that Govardhan Puja is as good as worship of him. From that day, Govardhan Puja has been going on and is known as Anakuta. Anakuta. In all the temples of Vrindavana and outside of Vrindavana, huge quantities of food are prepared in this ceremony and are very sumptuously distributed to the general population. Sometimes the food is thrown to the crowds and they enjoy collecting it off the ground. From this we can understand that prasadam offered to Krishna never becomes polluted or contaminated, even if it is thrown on the ground. The people therefore collect and eat it with great satisfaction. I've heard stories of devotees who, maybe to some eyes, would engage in this activity in extreme ways. If there's a bowl of sweet rice that was offered to the Lord, to the deity form of the Lord in the temple, then it's Mahaprasadam. And if somehow or other that sweet rice has been spilled on the floor, even in a dirty place, then I've heard stories of devotees will pick it up or even get down on their hands and knees and lick it up. Yes, because it is Mahaprasadam. It is never contaminated, never polluted, never contaminated, even if it is thrown on the ground. In 5 minutes, we're going to have Bhagavad Gita class. I think we have enough time to finish this chapter. There's just one page left. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, thus advised the cowherd man to stop the Indra Yajna and begin the Govardhan Puja in order to chastise Indra, who was very much puffed up at being the supreme controller of the heavenly planets. The honest and simple cowherd man, headed by Nanda Maharaj, accepted Krishna's proposal and executed in detail everything he advised. They performed Govardhan worship and circumambulation of the hill. Following the inauguration of Govardhan Puja, people in Vrindavan still dressed nicely and assembled near Govardhan Hill to offer worship and circumambulate the hill, leading their cows all around. According to the instruction of Lord Krishna, Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd man called in learned brahmanas and began to worship Govardhan Hill by chanting Vedic hymns and offering prasadam. The inhabitants of Vrindavana assembled together, decorated their cows, and gave them grass. Keeping the cows in front, they began to circumambulate Govardhan Hill. That circumambulate means to go around. The gopis dressed themselves very luxuriantly and sat in bull-driven carts, chanting the glories of Krishna's pastimes. The brahmanas assembled there to act as priests for Govardhan Puja, offered their blessings to the cowherd men and their wives, the gopis. When everything was complete, Krishna assumed a great transcendental form and declared to the inhabitants of Vrindavan that he was himself Govardhan Hill in order to convince the devotees that Govardhan Hill and Krishna himself are identical. Right? They're identical. So after the completion of these ceremonies, Krishna assumed a great transcendental form, huge form, and declared to the inhabitants of Vrindavan that he was himself Govardhan Hill, in order to convince the devotees that Govardhan Hill and Krishna himself are identical. Then Krishna began to eat all the food offered there. The identity of Krishna and Govardhan Hill is still honored, and great devotees take rocks from Govardhan Hill and worship them exactly as they worship the deity of Krishna in the temples. Right, we have here on our altar, right, Giriraj. The identity of Krishna and Govardhan Hill is still honored, and great devotees take rocks from Govardhan Hill and worship them exactly as they worship the deity of Krishna in the temples. The followers of the Krishna consciousness movement may, therefore, collect small rocks or pebbles from Govardhan Hill and worship them at home, because this worship is as good as deity worship. The form of Krishna who began to eat the offerings was separately constituted, and Krishna himself, along with the other inhabitants of Vrindavana, offered obeisances to the deity as well as Govardhan Hill. So Krishna separately expanded himself as this gigantic form to accept all of the offerings. And then Krishna and all of the cowherd community worshipped both Govardhan Hill and this separate form of the Lord. They offered obeisances to the deity as well as Govardhan Hill. In offering obeisances to the huge form of Krishna and Govardhan Hill, Krishna declared, "Just see how Govardhan Hill has assumed this huge form and is favoring us by accepting all the offerings." Krishna also declared at that meeting, "One who neglects the worship of Govardhan Puja, as I am personally conducting it, will not be happy. There are many snakes on Govardhan Hill, and persons neglecting the prescribed duty of Govardhan Puja will be bitten by these snakes and killed. In order to assure the good fortune of the cows and themselves, all people of Vrindavana near Govardhana must worship the hill as prescribed by me." Thus, performing the Govardhan Puja sacrifice, all the inhabitants of Vrindavana followed the instructions of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, and afterwards they returned to their respective homes. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 24th chapter of Krishna, worshipping Govardhan Hill. And so tomorrow we're going to find out what happened next. How did Indra take this? Krishna stopped the worship of Indra. He diverted all of the paraphernalia for worship to the local brahmanas and to Govardhan Hill. And now we're going to see how Indra responds. Okay, that will be tomorrow, chapter 25. So now we're going to have Bhagavad Gita class. Please just give me a few moments, a few minutes to set up for the class, and we'll begin. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtotara Satashishimad, His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtotara Satashishimad, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Navadvip Dham Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Yamuna Mai Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulasi Devi Ki. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories unto the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Do you know of Ashok, who's out there in the reception? Thanks. He might be actually at the Haveli doing prasadam. I just need someone to get four of these, what do you call them, rope boundaries out. In this door behind me. In this door behind me, there are these, what do you call them? Four, they're kind of like pillars, posts. And you pull out these tapes. Yeah, and it just makes a kind of a channel for anyone coming in for Darshan. Yeah, we do that now. So that, yeah. Thanks. Or if you can find anyone else who's at a loose end, then they could do it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, and today's text is number 8 and 9. I tried to get it on the screen earlier, but I failed. Because usually at this time I expect it to go out of this screen. If anybody is expert at this particular piece of technology, they're welcome to try. No, I can't get it up. Okay, so let's just hear, because that's actually what we need to be doing. Seeing is not believing in Krishna consciousness. Hearing is believing. Nothing wrong, nothing against seeing, right? Seeing is possible, but first of all, we see through the eyes of Shastra. And to do that, one has to hear Shastra. Shastra Chakshush. Seeing through the eyes of what is written in Scripture. So, where are we? Chapter 5. Okay, let's go straight to the verse. I have a habit of doing preambles before the verse that end up taking half the class, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go straight for the verse, and if we need to backtrack or give context, we can do so after. So texts 8 and 9. Please repeat after me. We'll go line by line, and I'll go slowly. Naiva kinchit karomiti. Good, yeah. Naiva kinchit karomiti. Yukto manyeta tatvavit. Okay, let's go word by word, right? It'll be easier. There are Bhagavad Gitas on the shelf as well, if anyone wants to have a look. 5:8. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tatvavit pashan shrinvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan svapan svasan. Text 8. Let me know when you've got it. Yeah? Okay, let's start again. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tatvavit pashan shrinvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan svapan shvasan pralapan visarjan gurnan unmishan nimishan api indriyan indriyarteshu vartanta iti dharayan naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tatvavit pashan shrinvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan svapan shvasan pralapan visarjan gurnan unmishan nimishan api indriyan indriyarteshu vartanta iti dharayan. Would you like to chant yourself? No? Okay. My version doesn't have the word for word, so I'm asking you to please read out the word for word translation for me.
A person in the divine consciousness.
First of all, the word for word, yeah? Word for word. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So never, certainly, anything.
Go the Sanskrit first. Say the Sanskrit word and then say the English word.
One at a time.
Yeah. And we'll yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Na, never. Eva, certainly. Kinchit, anything. Karomi, I do. Iti, thus. Yuktaha, engaged in the divine consciousness. Manyeta, thinks. Tattva, vid, one who knows the truth. Hashan, seeing. Shanvan, hearing, Sprishan, touching, Jigaram, smelling, Ashnam, eating, Gachatam, going, Shwapan, dreaming, Shvasam, breathing, Pralapam, talking, Vishwajam, giving up, Grinam, accepting, Unmishan, opening, Nimisan, closing, happy, in spite of. Indriyani, the senses, Indriya Ateshu, in sense gratification, Vartante, let them be so engaged, Iti, thus, Dhariyan, considering.
Thank you. Good. Okay. Translation. A person, I'll do it. My book might be slightly different to yours. This is an earlier edition. A person in divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, opening, or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. Let's read this translation together, yes? So I will say one phrase and then you will repeat it. Thanks. A person in the divine consciousness.
Person in the divine consciousness.
Although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. A person in Krishna consciousness is pure, and his existence, and consequently, I am reading the small print. A person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently he has nothing to do with any work which depends upon 5 immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation, the endeavor, and fortune. This is because he is engaged in the loving transcendental service of Krishna. Although he appears to be acting with his body and senses, he is always conscious of his actual position, which is spiritual engagement. In material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification. But in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna's senses. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is always free, even though he appears to be engaged in things of the senses. Activities such as seeing, hearing, speaking, evacuating, etc. are actions of the senses meant for work. A Krishna consciousness person is never affected by the actions of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord, because he knows that he is the eternal servitor of the Lord. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupakaramayam Darati Svaparantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpaturbhyascha Kripasundubhi Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. So in this 5th chapter, we're hearing about how one can work in the world and it's not material. It's possible to work in the world spiritually. And therefore this chapter is called Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. And last time I was sat here, we were hearing how some people, more traditionally perhaps, would be determined to retire from any activities and would simply engage in philosophical analysis. They would analyze this material world in an effort to find out what is actually the truth. Yes? Or what is real? What is permanent? Aside from all of the temporary comings and goings of material phenomena. Everything that we see comes into being and passes out of being. Nothing that we are interacting with today or next month or next year will stay for very long. Everything in this world is changing. So many conditions are coming into existence and passing out of existence. That's the nature of this material world. Everything is in flux. So, some transcendentalists named Gyanis, they're interested in analyzing this world in order to find out what is the underlying eternal principle. They're interested in separating spirit from matter. Yeah. And when they find out what is spirit, what is Brahman, what is the ultimate, yes, that is compared to finding out the root of everything. What is the root of this phenomenal existence? So then the question becomes, well, once you have discovered the root of this phenomenal existence, what are you going to do about it? Okay, now you know what the root is, and now you know what is the difference between spirit and matter, and you can analyze the constituents of this material world and divide them into whatever it is, 16 or 24. Yeah, you can split everything up and say it's only made of these 24 things. Yeah, and there's another thing which is spirit. Great. Now what are you going to do? What do you do? So Srila Prabhupada, in the earlier purport, he says that after finding the root, then one should be interested in watering the root. So the result achieved by analytical study, which is to find the root and to be interested in watering the root, that result is the same as one who takes to the path of devotional work. Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means that ordinarily I would work for myself and my own purpose and my own sense enjoyment, but because that is not a healthy process, that is not actually what my soul needs, therefore I'm going to dedicate my work and the results of my work to God. It could be the same work, it could be the same type of work, the same activities. the same going through the motions. But in one situation, that work is for my own motive, my own purpose. And in another situation, the same work actually may be for God's purpose, for His pleasure. So if I've found the root of existence, and I'm interested in serving the root of existence, yes? Great. And if I'm already engaged in working for the sake of the Supreme, then I've already achieved the result of Sankhya, of analytical study. If someone says to me, there is God, He is great, He is the root of existence, you are His tiny part and parcel, yes? You should simply engage in the service of His senses. Use your senses, your body, your mind, your words to serve Him, who is the master of your body, mind, and words. Just engage yourself in activities that can be dedicated for His pleasure. Just do that. And if I do that, then that is the beginning. That is the karma yoga. And by doing that, I am already doing the thing that would be the result of, retiring and studying and analyzing to find the root. So two apparently different processes, but actually they're one because they both aim to water the root. And the root is Vishnu. The root is Krishna. So in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Yagyartat karmanon yatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma kantaya mukta sangha samachara. The Lord says, Krishna says, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu must be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. So we don't want to suffer bondage in the material world because that means we have to suffer. We have to grow old. We have to get sick. We have to die. We have to take birth again. Right? Go to school again. Put up with all of the petty politics of the schoolyard. Yeah? Mean, kids being mean, us being mean. Right? Who wants to go through that? And then becoming a teenager, yeah? Becoming attracted to the opposite sex, but doesn't work out because you haven't a damn clue what you're doing. And then you get your heart broken, or you break somebody else's heart, tit for tat. Yeah? I mean, who wants to go through this whole rigmarole? Really? But that's inevitable for anybody who is hell-bent on material work. Yeah? Then you're going to get involved in a long-term relationship. You're going to get married. You're probably going to have kids. And that brings a whole new level of trouble. You have to work hard to maintain the status quo and to keep everybody happy. There are so many demands from the family members. Yes? You never have time for yourself now. If you're doing your duties properly because everybody requires something from you and, you're too responsible to ignore them. So now you've got no time for yourself. I just wanted to add a little thing to my life, a little happiness. Yeah, so you got married and now you've got no time for any of the things you thought you would be able to have time for. And then by the time you do have time, you're old and weak, feeble, and your opportunity is gone. And now you're just waiting to kick the bucket. And you still have so many hopes and dreams. And because of your material hopes and dreams, you're going to be offered another body. But if you haven't performed religious, pious activities in this life, the chances are that you will be degraded as a result of sinful activities. So even though you'd like to be king of the castle, you end up a dog in the king's castle. So this is not a good program of activities. Karma is not a recommended program of activities. Because even if one performs karma in the sense of pious work, by which one can be elevated to other higher planets, still, the inevitability is that one will fall from higher planets with a thud. So material activity really means two types of activity: karma and vikarma. Vikarma means not recommended, sinful, against God's wishes, against the scriptures, for which there are heavy reactions. Right? Heavy reactions. Is it Newton's third law of physics? Huh? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, so if you do stupid stuff, you're gonna suffer for it. If you give other people trouble unnecessarily, you will find yourself in trouble. So this is the story of vikarma. Right? Lusty, greedy, envious, angry activities that get you into hot water later. Or now, you take it, but eventually it'll all catch up with you and you'll end up in pain. This is the process of vikarma, not recommended. Okay, well, let me not then take up vikarmic activities. Let me do good activities. Let me perform pious activities, religious activities. Right? So that I can secure for myself a higher standard of material life. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai. Let me avoid vikarma. Let me take up karma. I'll perform religious ritualistic activities mentioned in the scriptures so that I can get material benefits. I can be elevated to heaven, where there is a good opportunity for enjoying. Right? Plenty of beautiful women. Samaras is there. Right? Nice beverage. And the standard of sense gratification is so much more than what I'm getting here. Yeah? Okay, you can do that. You can perform all kinds of pious activities, open hospitals, give in charity, yes, do different religious rituals, worship some demigods, go to heaven. Great. No, it's not so great, because unless you wake up to your spiritual reality, you will run out of credit while you're up there. Yeah? And when your credit runs out, you will fall back down to earth. It's mentioned in the Vedas in the form of rain. A little raindrop coming down, back down to earth. And then from the raindrop, you're transferred to the grain. By the grain, you're eaten by some male. And with a particle of the seed of that male, you'll be injected into the womb of a female to again receive another body for more material activities. And again, if you do some nice pious work, you get to go to heaven. But there's a good chance that you may go the other way, because who knows what kind of association you'll get, what kind of people you'll hang out with, and what kind of activities, nefarious activities, they may engage you in. And in order to secure money or enjoyment, you may perform vikarma without knowing the consequences. And as a result, when you next kick the bucket, excuse my parlance, but when you next pass on from the body, you will be required to undergo correction, purification. In Yamaraj's abode, receive some taste of the results of your sinful life in the form of different suffering. And then Yamaraj will say, this type of body is now available to you. It's not what you wanted. Yeah. It could be the body of a hog or a dog or anything. There are 8,400,000 species to choose from, but you don't get to choose really. They are assigned to you based upon your consciousness and your activities. So this is the net result of karma, whether pious or impious. It's karma. All it is striving for some happiness, occasionally getting a little bit, but most of the time struggling, suffering, and undergoing transformation, birth, maturation, producing children, getting sick, growing old, dwindling, and ultimately having to say goodbye to everything that you have built. Bye-bye everything that I love. Bye-bye everything that I've gathered. Bye-bye everything that I've worked so hard to maintain. Goodbye to all of it. This is called samsara, the wheel of repeated birth and death. And this is the net result of karma. Boy, oh boy, what a story. Not a pretty story. Is there some other option? Can I do something else? Yeah, you can avoid karma altogether. Yeah, and try to analyze what the material world is, how it's a big illusion, how it's a big, what's the word? I don't want to say sham because one of Krishna's names is Shama, but it's a farce. It's a big illusion. So analytical studies, Sankhya will expose the illusion. It will show us the illusion, and we'll find the root. And once we found the root, we will water the root. But it's not necessary to go through a whole process of analysis in order to water the root. I can just take up karma yoga. Okay, karma sounds like a really bad option after you've explained it. The karma option doesn't sound so good. It doesn't sound very healthy. Is there any other way that I can exist? I can live in the world, act in the world, in such a way that I don't have to receive the net result of this karma path. Because to me, running away to the forest, sitting down, and maybe studying the scriptures, and with my very sharp discernment, analyzing the material world and searching out Brahman, trying to find the spirit, trying to find God in my own heart, even if I'm an Ashtanga yogi, that doesn't sound very practical to me. Yeah? My tongue wants to taste something. My eyes want to see something. My ears want to hear some nice sound. My fingertips want to touch something pleasant. Right? I want to smell a fragrant smell. My limbs itch for some activity, some work. Okay? My belly rumbles for something to eat. And the sex urge is always there, demanding satisfaction. So what chance is there of me sitting under a tree or sitting very still and not getting involved in anything to do with this world? How long will I be able to keep that up? Well, maybe some people can. They'll try. They'll go to the Himalayas. They may sit by the bank of the Ganges. But Krishna says in the beginning of the 12th chapter that to seek out the impersonal form of the Lord by this method of discernment, by negating, by pushing out of the way everything that appears to be material, that is a long and arduous path, a difficult path, troublesome, very troublesome. Okay, so the karma path is no use. It's just, pain all the way practically. Little glimmer of hope. But what use is a glimmer of hope in dense darkness? What use is a drop of water when you're dying of thirst in the desert? What use is it if you're allowed momentarily to take a gasp of air if you're drowning in the ocean and again you're pushed under? So what value is this karma path? And then this path of renunciation or withdrawal, an analysis of the illusion, that's troublesome because my senses and my mind are demanding. So I've got one path that is difficult, painful, and ultimately miserable. And I've got another path that promises spiritual happiness, but it's troublesome, it's difficult. It requires a lot of sense control. Please, is there a third option? Is there something that is more practical, more helpful, more healthy? Yes. It's called karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. You can act with your senses. You can engage your mind. You can be busy. You can see things, hear things, touch things, smell things, taste things. You can even use your sex impulse in Krishna consciousness. It's called marriage. for begetting good children. Right? It's all possible in Krishna consciousness. Karma yoga. Karma means action, right? Pious or impious action. Vikarma means impious, of course, but if we just take the word karma to mean action for myself. Karma yoga means that action I would usually do for myself, I'm now doing it for God. That makes it yoga, makes it karma yoga. Yoga means to connect with the Lord. So great, I have an option. I can actually use the machine I've been given and, on the nature that I find myself stuck with. I can now use it in a spiritual way, and a way that actually gets a result which is not repeated birth and death, which is not heartache and loss. This is very good news. And then in text 7, we were covering that last week. Then in text 7, the Lord says, one who works in devotion. Right? So there's working not in devotion, there's working in selfishness. That gets you into trouble, right? That's karma. But there's work in devotion, karma yoga. It's actually the beginning of bhakti. Yoga means bhakti yoga. At the end of the 6th chapter, this is explained. Yoga means bhakti yoga. Karma yoga is the beginning of bhakti yoga process. Because what's the easiest thing to yoga? What's the easiest thing to connect to God? It's your body, your work. You yoga that first. Then by performing activities for the sake of the Supreme, what will be the reward? You'll get knowledge. Right. Then you'll engage your intellect, your discerning faculties, and your interest in knowledge in yoga. Instead of reading some book on the mating habits of ladybugs, you'll read a Vedic literature that describes God and your relationship with Him. So you're yogaing your intelligence, your mind. Then when that matures, develops, the mind will be on the Lord. You'll be entering into a state of meditation, dhyana yoga. And then when you have the culmination of karma, gyan, and dhyan, action, knowledge, and fixity of mind, meditation, when these things mature and come together and culminate, they will culminate as love. Love may be there to some degree in the beginning. Otherwise, how can you work for someone you don't really love? Maybe a little affection is there. But as one matures in one's love, the culmination of bhakti yoga is the culmination of love. Which means, I love God, therefore all of my work is for God. All of my knowledge is about God, dedicated to God's glories. And all of my thinking is in God. The culmination, bhakti yoga. So karma yoga is the beginning of the yoga ladder. So one who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who can, right? This is not a different path. It's not that karma yoga and bhakti yoga are two separate paths. They're not. Karma yoga is part of the bhakti yoga path. One who works in devotion who is a pure soul. Well, a really pure soul is a bhakti yogi. And he will naturally work in devotion. All of his work will be in devotion. So he automatically does karma yoga as a result of being a perfect bhakti yogi. So one who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Although always working, such a man is never entangled. He's always working, but he doesn't get entangled in the karmic reactions. Why? Because all of his work is for the sake of the Supreme. So there's no karma, no reaction. Just like a soldier, if he fights on the warfield, yes, for the sake of the state, for the king, there's no consequence, there's no negative consequence for fighting or killing. They give him a medal. His name goes on the wall. Such an heroic soldier, right? What did he do? He shot the enemy. But he didn't fire for himself. He fired for the king, for the state. In the same way, if we work for the sake of God, there's no material result. There's only a spiritual result. So never entangled in the karmic reactions. The chain of karmic reaction comes to an end. Right? If the fan's whirling, yeah, I pull the plug, I cut the electric, yeah, no power, no further propulsion, maybe a little momentum, right, winding down. So right now in this body, I can take up spiritual work. I'm not generating any future material reactions. But this body itself is a material reaction. I have to put up with it for the time being. Yeah? But if I dedicate this body, mind, and words, intelligence, in God's service, in this life, it's like the complete winding down of that fan, metaphorically speaking. And then death means no more material activity. And you graduate. You get a spiritual body. You have no more business in this material world. Does it sound like a good proposal? A good proposal. If we're still callous to the reality of the material world, if we still think it's not a bad place, I have some little hope here to achieve all of my goals. Yeah? Time will give us the realization we need. But to avoid all of the experience, to avoid learning by experience, let's try to think it up. Let's try to hear first and consider it. Is it true? Is that my future? Even if I get, the money, the position, the girl, the whatever, all of it. I don't know, everybody has their own, right? But pretty much it comes down to a few things, right? Puja, labha, pratishta, worship, adoration, profit. If I get all of that in whatever planet, will that do it for me? Well, it might do it for you for a while, but the problem is a while doesn't last. And in the cosmic scale of things, a while is nothing. And whatever little bit of a while you enjoyed for, you'll forget. You'll forget all of the enjoyment that you achieved. The position, the worship, the facilities for enjoying my senses. Whatever you get to enjoy, and whatever you do enjoy, the entire experience will be forgotten. It'll be what's that word? Swallowed? There's another word beginning with G. Golloped. Is that the word? No. What's the word when a kid, it begins with G. It's the same as swallow. Golloped. Yeah, golloped. I haven't used that word in a long time. It sounds strange. Gollop. But all of my experience will be golloped up by cosmic time. You won't remember any of it. Well, you'll at some point you'll just be sitting in pain, going, "How did I end up here?" Right? I was Indra. I was Brahma. Apparently, I don't remember, but must have been. And now I'm still suffering. So the proposal of karma yoga, engaging my work, engaging the results of my work to serve Krishna, is a good proposal. What to speak of taking up chanting Hare Krishna, hearing about Krishna's glories. So today's two verses. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in all of these material activities, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, breathing, right? Working with the body and the mind. If he is in divine consciousness, he always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, Hare Krishna. I know what you want to say is important. Yeah? But if both of us speak, then we can't hear Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So, because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. Right? Because he's spirit, he's in the heart, he's a little fragment, tiny fragment of Krishna, nothing to do with this machine. I'm just riding on this machine. This is my car. Yeah? Whatever goes on in the car has nothing to do with me. Really. Right? It's the super soul's business. You know, look at my nail. Right? I'm not in my nail. I'm conscious of it because I'm afforded that awareness. But I don't know how my nail grows. I just, a couple of weeks later, it's longer than it used to be. Take anything that happens with this body. We have nothing to do with it practically. We're just aware that we're in it. So one who is in transcendental consciousness knows that he has nothing to do with all of the actions and reactions of the body. But he uses the machine given to him to serve Krishna. Very simple thing. In this purport that we read, I wanted to go over it twice, but then I wouldn't have time for questions. Srila Prabhupada mentions that a person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently, he has nothing to do with any work which depends upon 5 immediate and remote causes. So all the work in this world is caused by 5 things. And this is mentioned in the 18th chapter. What are the causes of work in this world? Well, you've got the doer, the work itself, the situation, the endeavor, and fortune or daiva. Let me see if I can find the verse specifically. 18. One second. Come on. Worker. No understanding. That's the problem. I'm under pressure to talk, and then I can't relax and go looking for the verse. Okay, there we go. 5 factors. Text 5. No. 5 factors. Actually. Yes, 5 factors. Learn from me the 5 factors of action. Let's just look at that briefly. Text 18. No, that's not it. Okay, never mind. The worker, which means the doer, huh? The doer is the soul because he desires. So I desire to do something. Then Krishna arranges for me to carry out that action. Right? The work itself is the cause of one work leads to another type of work. One action leads to another action. The situation, right? We're all conditioned by circumstance. Yes? So the circumstances that we're in affects the type of work and the result of the work. Then the endeavor. You have to actually try. Yes? And your trying does not guarantee a result. We read that earlier in Krishna book. So you can put everything together. You can put all of the ingredients together and you can try your best. And still, the result that you seek is not guaranteed. because there's a very important other factor of action, and that is called Daiva, the supersoul, the deity who arranges for everything. He sanctions the results of all activities. So one who is in spiritual consciousness knows, I am a spirit soul. This body is simply a material machine. I do not control the actions of this machine. I simply desire. And the supersoul, God, who is with me in the heart, He arranges that these actions are carried out. And He also arranges for appropriate results. So ultimately I'm dependent on Krishna, who is the supersoul residing with me in my heart. And therefore we should always do our work for Krishna's pleasure, depending upon Him. That is the proper way to perform work. We're out of time. If anyone has any question, you can ask me in half an hour. I'll still be here. Okay? So thanks so much. And Shri Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Let's just keep a small corridor up the center of the temple room, yeah? Keep a gap up the center of the temple room, please, so that our backs are not facing Srila Prabhupada directly, yeah? Just a narrow corridor up the center of the temple room. Let's try to keep that. Thanks so much.
Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki Jai. Shri Shri Taram Lakshman ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Shiva Jayo Jayo Gaura Chandir Arati ko Shobha Jaya Jayo Jayo Gaura Chandir Arati ko Shobha Janavi tatavane jaga manalobha dakhine nitai chan Bame Gadadhara Dakineni Tai Chan Bame Gadadhara Nikate Advaita Srini Vasa Chatradhara কিবা বসি আছে গোরা চান রত্ন সিংহাসনে বসে আছে গোরা চাঁদ রত্ন সিংহাসনে আরতি করে না ব্রহ্মা আদি দেবগানে নারারি আদি করে চামার ঢুলায়া নারারি আদি করে চামার ঢুলায়া সঞ্জয় মুকুন্দ বাসু গোসাদিগায়া শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্টা বাজে বাজে করতালা শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্টা বাজে বাজে করতালা মাধুরা মৃদঙ্গ বাজে পরম রসালা মাধুরা মৃদঙ্গ বাজে পরম রসালা শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্টা বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্টা বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे निताय गौरा हरि बोल गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल गौरा हरि निताय गौरा हरि बोल गौरा हरि बहु कोटि चंद्राजिनी वदन उज्ज्वला बहु कोटि चंद्राजिनी वदन उज्ज्वला गला देशे बनमाला करे झलमाला शिवा सुकाना राधा प्रेमे गदा गदा शिवा सुका नारादा प्रेमे गदा गदा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौरार संपादा शिवा जयो जयो गौरा चांदे आरती को शोभा जयो जानवी तटवने जगमन लोभा गौरांगेरारती को शोभा जग जन माना लोभा jana mana lobha. Gaurangera rati ko shobha jaga jana mana lobha. Jaga jana mana lobha. Jaga jana mana lobha. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Jaya Shri Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radhe Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radhe Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol
Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayong Vishnupad Paramhamsa Ashtottara Shatasri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Brinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Samavita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. So now if you could take a seat and we will have Narasingha prayer.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Shilatanka Nakhalaye
Yato yato yami tato Narsingha. Bahir Narsingha Hidaye Narsingha. Narasingamadim Sharanam Prapade. Tava Karakamala Vare Natha Adbhuta Shringham Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanubhingam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare. Kara Kamala Vare Nakha Madhuta Shingha Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanubhingha Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare. Jaya Narsingha Dev, Jaya Narsingha Dev, Jaya Narsingha Dev, Jaya Narsingha Dev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, प्रहलाद महाराज की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.
Shipra?
I know sometimes I'm working. If I find not working.
No, Prabhu sang enough. Now you sit.
I'm learning actually.
So our kirtan will go on till 9:30.